Hey, this is Keith with How to Build Your Own Home, and I had a subscriber ask me a question, the pros and cons of a flat roof versus a pitched roof. Well, I've got both here, and I'm going to explain to you what you really want to do. If you have to have a portion of the flat roof, the product to use, what I'm going to recommend here, and if you do have a pitched roof, what kind of pitch you should have on your roof. One of the things you should really avoid is a steep pitch on a house. Nothing over 712. This here is a 612 pitch. So you can see how easy it is to walk up this roof, and it's a 612 pitch. I'm not worried, I'm not going to fall anywhere. If this was an 812 pitch, I'd be like this. If this was a 912 pitch, I'd be, oh my gosh, I'd be tied off. And so the minute you increase that pitch of the roof, it's going to increase your framing costs, it's going to increase your roofing costs. Stay away from 812 and above. The ideal sweet spot is between a 612 and a 712 pitch. That way you have sufficient runoff on your house, and it's easy to walk on. Framing costs are going to be a little less. Your roofing costs, they can roof it faster. Now, I understand that in some inclement weather where you've got a lot of snow load, they typically want to increase that pitch because it can get that snow off there faster. So you might want to check with your engineer and your architect on that, your local codes and whatnot. In a lot of high mountain areas, I noticed that the pitch of the roof is typically a little steeper. But if you can get away with a 7, 6, 12 pitch, and if you're going to roof that yourself, you are going to thank yourselves for making that pitch slow. So if you do a roof that's pitched, keep that pitch, if it's pitched like that, keep it around the 6, 7, 12, and that'd be great. Now, if you have to do a flat roof, this is a deck, which is basically not a livable, usable deck, but it's a flat roof. It's going to be sloped, like you see this one is sloped. Now, there are a lot of products you can use for a flat roof. You can use EPO, you can use PDM. A lot of them are rubber applied. Some of them are asphalt applied, where you have a heat torch. As you unroll it, you're heating it up and you're sticking it to the substrate. Some of them have a glue down. Some of them actually have a heater where it's like a plastic and you heat it up, and as you're pushing it down, it's sticking to the other layer on top of that. I don't like any of them. Most of them are commercial products, and they're very hard for how-to people and owner builders. They're very heavy. If you're carrying up one of those rolls over your shoulder, it's super heavy. It takes a lot of skill to install it. Well, if you want something that's easy to install, I'm going to show you. You can use this. I think just about anybody out there has used a roller. So we're going to roll this on, and I'm going to show you how to use this product. It's got a felt mesh on it. So we're going to roll some primer on it. Then we'll roll some felt on top of the primer. And then we're going to put another coat of the primer on top of that. And I'll show you how easy it is. Now, the reason why I like this product is I'm not getting paid for this. It's just a product I've used for 20 years. It's been around for a long time. It takes the UV light incredibly well. Plastics and rubbers, like I said, we're dealing with not just rain, but UV damage. Both, a double whammy right on top of the deck here of your roof. You want to be able to reflect that as much as you can. So we can actually have a top coat that goes with this, and you can color that any color you want. It typically comes in white, so it has a good reflective quality on it, and it's not absorbing that heat into your house. It expands, it's elastometric, it contracts and expands with the heat. I've used this for about 20 years on decks and a lot of places. So watch me as I install this. You can do it, it's not that hard, and let's make fun of it. Okay, here I'm marring the L metal. You want to scratch it up just a little bit so that the primer can actually bond to it. You can use some wire brush or just the butt of a hammer. And when you do the first coat, just make sure it's thick. Just put it on as thick as you can. Don't try to be chintzy on this. Put a good thick coat on there so that you can have the felt go right on top of it, and it has a good bond between the felt and that coat. And then, of course, your second coat. Again, really thick. Roll it on there, and you want to roll it as you go. You want to make sure that felt's pretty straight, pretty in line, and you want to overlap the L metal a couple of inches. Again, and make sure you put that coat on real thick. As you go, sometimes you want to make sure that L metal is down really tight. You can use a knife, but sometimes that doesn't work so well. So after using a knife, I use some scissors. And you'll find that scissors work much better. You can cut it faster because it is a felt. It doesn't have a rigid edge to it. So use some scissors on that. Okay, we're done. About 40 minutes it took this section here. It's about a 12 by 15 overhang over the front porch of an entry of a home. And I love the liquid apply. There's no torch to heat it up. There's no heater for the plastic and no glue. It's just roll it down on the primer, put a roll of felt on there, put another goop of the primer on, and let it sit. Now we'll let it sit here for quite some time. I'm not going to put the color coat on it until after the stucco guys come. You can see over there, there's a wall. They'll splotch and make a mess on that. I don't want them to make a mess of the final coat, the color coat. So we'll just put a piece of paper down there, and they'll be able to walk on this tomorrow, and I'll be able to store material and stack all the roofing material on here. So great product. This is the primer base. It comes in gray. As you've seen in other previous videos, I use the same product for sealing the transition from my timber, my framing structure, to my concrete slab. And it's a great seal for that. Again, the manufacturer doesn't suggest that's what it's for, but I use it for that because it's a decking product. It's meant to keep water out and keep water from getting inside the product. There's a lot of products out there that have never been used for what they could be used for because we just don't think about that. This is affordable, easy to apply. It's something you can do, and you really can't mess up on it. Again, this is a KM product. I'll put some link below as to the product manufacturer of this product. You can check it out. But one thing to keep in mind with flat roofs, the pros and cons, they're easy and cheap to cover versus the roofing product over here. That's going to be more money. So a flat roof is pretty much cheap if you use this product. If you do a TPO or other products are out there, rubber seals and stuff like that, that's going to be more money. And typically you're going to need a commercial type person or a commercial contractor to install those. I happen to live in an area where we have a lot of flat roofs, and so there are residential contractors for flat roofs. But if there are not residential contractors for flat roofs, that's something you might want to think about. You may have to get a commercial one. But I don't recommend flat roofs. I'm not a fan of them. But every once in a while, you have a design feature that calls for a section for a flat roof. And one of the best products I use is the KM Coatings. Check it out on the link below. This is Keith Kelch with How to Build Your Own Home.